What's happening, people? Welcome back to the show. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football and pro wrestling podcast we bring you each and every day. Head over to YouTube and smash that subscribe bell notification button. Share the content, drop a like on the video, and of course, as always, support the channel and the community that we're growing here. Bonus episode on a Sunday. It is international break at the moment, so we're kind of focusing more so on wrestling than we are on football, but we will be back tomorrow night, Monday. 9 o'clock, myself and Marky for the Monday mashup. We're going to be talking maybe a little bit of wrestling, we'll see, but we'll definitely be talking about evidence point deduction and what that means for Chelsea and Man City and any other teams under the microscope at the moment, how that's going to fare out. Thursday, I'll be back with Thursday Tier Talk, of course, with Darren. Looking forward to the Premier League returning next weekend. Boy, did we miss it when it's not here. And of course, on Wednesday, we will do Pro Wrestling Weekly. We'll be giving them a further insight and a look into Survivor Series, sharing some more memories and thoughts and all those kind of good things. So make sure you join us for those shows. Those shows are coming up. Tonight, though, we're going to do a review of AEW Full Gear. Let us know your thoughts on that, what you thought of it, how you felt it went. Did it deliver for you? Was it everything that you expected or more or less? How did you feel about it? As always, so many matches and the pay-per-views are just so long. They just deal my head in with the length of them and stuff like that, and having to review them is quite a troll as well. But let us know what you thought. What was the standout stuff for you? What was the standout matches? How did you feel about it? You know, how did you feel about Jay White coming out of that big title match and everything that went on with that? How did you feel about the storyline that was driven throughout the night from the pre-show? Let me know your thoughts. Orange Cassidy, of course, and everything in between, the tag match. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, did Hangman Page and Swerve have one hell of a match. Let me know your thoughts on it. The Willis is in. Will, how are you, my friend? All right, man. Pay-per-view was insane, was class. Yeah, I think there was elements of it that were very good, but a lot of questions come out of it as well. But yeah, I don't know. We were talking earlier, Will, of course, on WhatsApp. Yeah, Hangman and Swerve was unreal. Daz is in. What's a crack, Niall? How are you, Daz? Hope you enjoyed Full Gear. Acers is in. Average pay-per-view. What did you not like, Acers? Tell us what you didn't like. Let us know. We have a few other bits to talk about as well. We're going to talk about Ronda Rousey rocking up on ROH. What is that about? Links that Okada potentially to WWE. Would you like him in there? Would he fit? How do you think it would figure? How do you think it would work out and stuff like that? If you compare it to, say, Nakamura, who went in there, who we know came in, was absolutely unbelievable, was unbelievable in NXT, came up onto the main roster. How do you feel about the transition to the main roster? Okada would probably be looking to come straight in. I don't think necessarily he'd want to be starting in NXT. But let us know your thoughts on that. Could you see it happening? Would he prefer to be a free soul on the circuit and all that kind of stuff? We're also going to be talking, of course, about Becky Lynch filling that last spot on Bianca Belair's team on Survivor Series War Games for the women's match. How do you feel about that? Is she going to be able to coexist with Charlotte Flair, or what way do you think that'll run out? We'll be asking questions about the devil, who wasn't unveiled last night, but should we know potentially that the devil was in sight? So let's see what happens there. I'm going to be talking about the Shield, 11-year anniversary there the other day. What's your thoughts on the Shield? What's your memories of them? How did you feel about when they came in? And how have the three boys done since? Let us know your thoughts on that as well. So plenty to get through tonight. Bit of crack, fun on a Sunday, nothing too serious. Let me know your thoughts on the pay-per-view, and we will obviously start a few more comments. Niall, I got a poster last night. I have two now. Would you like one on free? Yeah, absolutely, Daz. Hit me up, actually. Do you know what to do, Daz, if you can? Rather than having to send me the poster, just scan it in or take a picture on your phone, send it to me, and I'll print it out. Save you the money of sending it to me and stuff like that. Acers, only 2 matches was great. Rest of the card was terrible. Expand, Acers, expand. Don't tease us. Don't keep on teasing us along. Tell us what you liked and what you didn't like and why you liked and didn't like it. Let's get into this conversation here about this pay-per-view. So we started off, of course, 3 matches on the 0 Hour pre-show. What was your thinking on them? Eddie Kingston defeating Jay Lethal by pinfall to retain the ROH Championship. I'm a big fan of Jay Lethal. I met Jay Lethal, and do you know the funny thing about Jay Lethal, folks? You see Jay Lethal there, the on-screen character, I should say. Jay Lethal is the shyest guy in the world. I don't know if you've ever met Jay Lethal at a meet and greet. Jay Lethal is one of those guys. I've met him a couple of times when he was in TNA. Like, so shy, so humble, such a nice guy, so down to earth and stuff like that and all. And then when you see him on screen and he's doing those things like the Flair stuff he did that time on Impact and all stuff, crazy, crazy stuff. And I'd be stoked when I see him doing that kind of stuff. Also seeing him at a G1 climax before WrestleMania 35 in Madison Square Garden. Can't remember who he was against. Was he against Taven, I think, or something like that? I'm not too sure, but put on a stellar match. Can't remember that far back. But yeah, always been a fan of Jay Lethal. So good stuff there. Claudio Castagnoli, of course, defeated Buddy Matthews by submission. And then MJF and Samoa Joe defeated the Guns to retain the ROH Tag Team Championships. A lot of kind of back and forth with MJF and Joe in this kind of, false tagging and stuff like that and all, and creating a little bit of a mood between the two boys, if you like. But it accelerated in when the Guns attacked MJF and did that number on his knee and stuff like that. Adam Cole coming down as well, but couldn't really do a whole lot with the broken foot on the crutches and stuff like that. But it kind of laid out MJF, the Guns did, on his knee, and then he had to be stretchered out of there, of course, up into the ambulance, and set the narrative for the night. Then don't let them take my championship, all this kind of thing. Make sure you don't let them take my championship to Adam Cole and all. And Adam, of course, I won't. Don't worry, MJF, I won't, and all this kind of thing. Maxwell, I won't. So yeah, that kind of set the narrative then for the pay-per-view. I'm not sure. First of all, I'm not too sure whether it's a good idea to have a wrestler who's your champion wrestling on the pre-show as well and having to go through that match. I get it fits with the storyline and stuff like that, but I don't know whether it's like, we'll talk about Jay White later and stuff like that and what it means to him now and everything that they went through and all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, where do you go with him now? You know what I mean? If you can't get the job done under all that circumstances, when are you ever going to get the job done? So a difficult one, really. So but yeah, the boys, interesting tag match. I do like the Guns, in fairness, but the boys retained the ROH Tag Team Championships, but at what cost? So then we seen it later on. Of course, the storyline came down. So we get into the main show then. Main show, we had Sting, Adam Copeland, and Darby Allin with Ric Flair. And I don't know if you've seen that kind of Ric Flair interaction. I think it was from Collision, wasn't it? It was Ric Flair and it was Jay Lethal and Jarrett walked by and they're just looking at each other and stuff like that. No, it was cool. They beat Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. What did you think of this match, folks? Let us know what you thought of it. Let's get some comments here. Here we go. Acer's in. Texas Deathmatch and Tag Team Ladder match was great. Rest of the card was absolute garbage. There we go. Going in hard. I think Sting's got one more match. Just about. Just about there, say. Not having it, Azers. No way, Jose. No way, Jose. No way, Jose. Remember him? Well, we remember him well, don't we? No way, Jose. We loved him. Adam Cole, Devil Reveal, now pushed back to World's End on December the 30th. It might be pushed back further than that because I don't know what the benefit of the reveal is going to be until he's cleared with the foot. I did do up a little slide on it, of course. Where's the little slide? Which I thought was pretty cool. And I like the way the write-up was that, like, you can't unveil the devil when the devil is inside in front of you and stuff like that and all, So I think it's odds on we can say now it's definitely Adam Cole, unless they go in a different direction or something like that. But I don't think based coming out of that show last night, you're not going to get the reveal until Adam Cole is fit and clear to wrestle, because I don't see what the point is. It doesn't make any sense to me. So, yeah, but let us know. But it's disappointing. I was looking forward to the devil reveal and all that kind of stuff now, but didn't happen. What did you make of this tag match? First of all, I thought Wayne was going to take the pin. I wasn't expecting Luchasaurus to take the pin. I did like the interaction between Christian and Flair. And I love the way Flair whips off the jacket and he starts interacting with Christian outside the ring. And then Christian does that real old lady's eye poke and stuff like that, and then hits him with the low blow, which I thought was really cool. I do really like, I am invested in Christian at the moment here. I think he's doing really good stuff. I did like the way as well, him and Edge, they kind of didn't meet at all. They were chasing each other, but never really got to do anything. So they're kind of leaving us hungry for that kind of matchup and stuff like that, not giving it to us straight away, which is kind of cool. But yeah, Sting, Edge, Adam Copeland, of course, and Darby Allin, of course, picking up the win. Anything else really on it? Nothing really else on it. It's just kind of what we kind of expected, But again, the big thing for me is I was surprised Luchasaurus was taking the pin and not Wayne. Yeah, that was that one. What's next? AEW World Title announcement. This is where Shivani came out onto the thing on the back end of the MJF situation and talking about how the match was cancelled. They had to forfeit the belt. It was going to Jay White. Adam Cole comes out. Adam Cole, of course, on the crutches, dragging the broken foot and stuff like that. There's no way the belt's going to him, all this kind of thing, giving it loads and stuff like that. But we kind of knew where this was kind of going and stuff like that. And it was kind of it just kind of felt, I don't know whether it hit what it wanted to hit. I'm not too sure whether it kind of works that way in 2023. But yeah, we'll get into the main event anyway. So that was the announcement, the world title announcement, of course, with Jay White and Tony Schiavone and Adam Cole. That's what happened with that. Next up was the AEW International Championship. Orange Cassidy with Hook beat John Moxley with Wheeler Yuta. What did you make of this one? I thought this was okay. I thought it was a decent match. You obviously get Moxley bleeding as he normally does and stuff like that. But I did like the way finally Orange Cassidy got a clean win over Moxley in terms of the pin and stuff like that, because a lot of Moxley's matches don't end with that clean kind of ending. So I think that boosted Cassidy somewhat as well. So I was very happy for that match. The only thing I would say about it is, you look at Orange Cassidy, it took us 6 times. You had to hit the orange punch 6 times to finally put Moxley away. But it did put over Orange Cassidy in a big way, and I think that's what's really important at this time, especially in Orange Cassidy's development at the moment. We've seen where he sort of started at a certain level, then he got elevated through the Jericho stuff, and then it kind of stalled a little bit again, and now he's lifting up another level again, so that can only be good for Orange Cassidy. Next up was the AEW Women's World Championship. Hikaru Shida loses to Toni Storm with Luther. This was kind of felt like a cheap win for a heel Toni Storm, isn't it? And now she's 3 times AEW champion. Let us know your thoughts on that. The weird thing was the ref not seeing the metal object, I think, was kind of weird. And even when she was on the ramp, it was hanging out of the tights. So it was that felt a little bit weird and stuff like that. But other than that, I think Toni Storm looks the business. I think that character that she's developing looks really, really cool. And it is a kind of a transitional weird time, women's wrestling in AEW and stuff like that, because I still feel there's a lot more to come from it. It's not absolutely knocking it out of the park at the moment. Someone should have been disqualified for attacking Flair. Absolutely. Moxley versus Cassidy rubber match, World's End. Yeah, they could do that. Although I don't know if they do a rubber match, what happens is, my guess is, I would say if they do a rubber match, and let me know your thoughts on this, probably Moxley would prevail. And then what happens, you kill off all that kind of Orange Cassidy elevation, So let me know what you think. Sean's in. Big up, Sean. How are you? Howdy, Niall. What did you make of the show? Texas Deathmatch was ludicrous violence, and I loved it. Yeah, we're going through it there at the moment, Sean. So we'll come to that. We'll come to the deathmatch in a minute. We're up as far as now. We're about to talk about the tag team ladder match. Acer said he was all in on the tag team ladder match, really enjoyed it and stuff like that. But let us know your thoughts, folks, on any of the matches. Good to hear from you on any of the matches. The tag team ladder match, Ricky Starks and Big Bill, of course, picking up the win. Plenty of weapons. I did enjoy the match. I did enjoy the interaction. I enjoyed a lot of things about the match. But the goal of the match was to climb the ladder and get the belts. And no one seemed very interested in climbing the ladder to retrieve the belts. And that was kind of weird to me. And we've seen this a number of times develop, not only in AEW, but in WWE as well, where the focus should be to put the opponents down, get the ladder up, get up the ladder, and claim the belts. Doesn't seem to happen. And happened very, very little last night, to the point where I was looking at it going, this is like watching a half-hour match with no false pins, no one going for a pin, no one wanting to win. And that's what it felt like last night. As much as I enjoyed a lot of the interaction and the movements and some of the spots and all that kind of stuff, it didn't feel like anyone wanted to win. And that's kind of weird in a match like that, you know. So I think that just brought the standard down slightly, but I did enjoy it. Did you see the guy who very unselfishly put over the Simone Bulldozer Umaga, Steve O, in the front row? I did see that. Yeah, very good. Love seeing Big Bill do well. Yeah, absolutely. I know why, Sean. Absolutely. Let's move on then. Let's talk TBS Championship match. Chris Statlander versus Sky Blue versus Julia Hart. Julia Hart winning by pinfall and new TBS champion. Interesting the way she won it as well. I think Julia Hart has been doing a fantastic job. I think her development over the last year, both character and in-ring work, I think has greatly improved. I do like the girl a lot. But it was kind of interesting that, you know, she kind of stole the pin. She let Statlander do all the work and then came in very cleverly to get that pin right at the death, which is kind of cool. And the way they do these triple threat matches as well, if there is going to be a change of the belt, if you want to protect the stronger person in there, the way you do it is getting the other person pinned as part of the triple threat and you still remain strong. So from that point of view, it probably worked and stuff like that. But it'll be interesting to see now what way Julia Hart's develop goes now after picking up the belt. Sean's in. Well, he's 7 foot tall and you can't teach that for one, but also he had an addiction issues. And it's really inspiring seeing him go from where he was to where he is now. Absolutely. And that fall out of WWE at that time and stuff like that is just, you know, I can understand why people kind of fall off the wagon a bit trying to deal with it and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it is good to see him back. We don't want to see anyone going through any tough times and stuff like that. We want to see people enjoying their job as much as they can. Wheels in. This triple threat was actually very, very good. Yeah, I enjoyed it. But I really enjoyed the way she came in. I enjoyed the way they constructed their way all the way to the pin, which I thought was really, really cool. And it's kind of what you would expect from a triple threat. But even though we kind of know it, and I'm not a huge fan of triple threat matches at all, both men's or women's, because some of them in WWE have been horrific. But this one I kind of bought into. It kind of worked for me, you know. Also on the topic of Big Bill, Enzo's coming to OTT in December, and I can't go. And I can't go. Can you effing believe it? I can't believe. Why can't you go? I can't believe you can't go. Enzo, and you can't go. Wonder how it'll be received. Hopefully, really good. Then we get to the AEW contract signing. How do you feel about this, folks? Will Ospreay has signed for AEW. I kind of don't know what this means because it's kind of like they pumped it up as a huge thing. I'm a big fan of Will Ospreay. I like what he does. I think he's really, really good. We've seen him at Wembley and stuff like that. His choice of tattoos now wouldn't be great. But that aside, what I would say is, how did you feel about this? We were expecting a big name. So who we were thinking Ziggler, we were thinking Mercedes Moné, we were thinking a lot of different wrestlers and stuff like that, and it became out Will Ospreay, who's already worked in there, who generally would probably be available to work in there. They have a nice relationship with New Japan and stuff like that. He obviously said he has to deal with some stuff in New Japan first, and then he'll be there and stuff like that. There was talk linking him with WWE. I don't think Will Ospreay going into WWE would have been a happy marriage at this stage in his career. I think he likes the looseness of the availability of his creative control, both in-house and also out on the scene. And I think that really, really appeals to him as a performer. And I think if he goes into WWE and he has to be managed in a certain way, I don't think that would appeal to him. So I think this was a very, very obvious way to go with Will Ospreay. And what it does is it gives him another 3 to 5 years. So at that stage, he'd be what? He's 33 now. 36, 37, depending on the length of the contract he signed. He'd still have time to potentially move into WWE at that stage if that's what he fancied. But I think at the moment, I think it's probably the right place for him to go. It also gives him the opportunity that he can work the other indie promotions that he wants to work, and also maybe keep his relationship with New Japan there with the links with AEW and all that kind of stuff, which I think works for him. But it gives him a huge element of creative control of where he wants to go and see how he develops in this next phase of his career after signing that contract, which I think is really, really important. Um, but I'm not sure. I think in terms of AEW, I think it's a really, really good signing for them. Um, but we'll see how it goes. I wasn't when I heard it was Will Ospreay, I wasn't taken aback by it. Um, I wasn't disappointed by it, but I wasn't shot to the moon by it. I mean, now the way Tony Khan sometimes pumps these things up and goes, "Oh yeah, it's going to be this, that, and the other," and he's the best guy on the planet, and the whole roster loves him, and all this kind of thing, and you know, then that's what they wheel out. So let us know your thoughts on that. How do you feel about Will Ospreay going in there? Work. Oh man, get it off. Take work off, Sean. Take work off. You have to go see him, don't you? Osprey's a huge star, and they advertised it would be a huge star. So AEW did what it said on the tin. But did they do what it said on the tin? Because see, I would regard when I look at those guys that work out there on the scene, and maybe they're working in Impact and ROH and New Japan and Rev Pro and all these other different places. I normally regard those guys as being available. So I would regard if AEW are doing big shows, pay-per-view shows, or whatever it is, if they wanted Will Ospreay on the card, assuming it doesn't clash with his New Japan commitments and stuff like that, that he would be available to wrestle anyway. So I'm not too sure because you signed a contract to bring him onto the roster. I'm not sure how much it changes, except maybe you're going to have him weekly now on weekly TV. That could be maybe the difference. Bruv. Yeah, bruv. Absolutely. But let us know your thoughts on this. Right, let's get into this. Is one y'all want to talk about, don't they? This Texas death match. Hangman Page versus Swerve Strickland. Swerve Strickland picking up the win. And we've seen Hangman getting absolutely hanged out with that chain. What did you make of this? They didn't let me off for the OTT show next week and then the Skilling with Scotty Too Hotty. So no way they'll let me get off for this either. Sean, so long as your employer isn't looking, that's what you have sick days for. Say nothing. I didn't tell you that. Even if I call my manager spot, it's probably B Curtains. Yeah, absolutely. But let us know. Let us know what you thought of this Texas death match. I thought the two boys knocked it out of the park. I have to say, starting out, most people would know, watch the show. I'm not a huge fan of death matches. I'm not a huge fan of rings being drenched in blood. I'm not against it in terms of when it's called for. I'm also not a fan of wrestlers, underneath wrestlers, bleeding into their mouth. I think that's a bit mad. Yeah, I think it was an interesting one. Will comes in there and he goes, Hangman getting booed is quite odd. Yeah, it kind of feels weird, but you probably still have that core fan base there. That revert back to the CM Punk stuff and stuff like that and all, and that whole situation with Hangman and all was just a total shit show. And sometimes people just don't forget, you know what I mean? But yeah, I wasn't too sure about it. I don't know how you felt about it. I thought the match itself, I thought was really, really good. It's probably one of the better matches that AEW put out in a long, long time. But I just felt it was kind of sometimes it's like an unnecessary evil, isn't it? When you have to go through that amount of stuff. Both boys absolutely drenched out. But that bit, I have to say, that bit where he's over him and he's bleeding into his mouth and stuff like that, that I can't that I can't get on board at all. Sean, Moxley and Page last time was unwatchable violence in a good way. And this was the same. The blood and violence here made sense though, because it was so personal, but it was great crack. Yeah, that's what I mean. It did, but I just, in terms of me and my personal thing of what I like and stuff like that, it generally doesn't appeal to me to go to that level. That's all. But I thought overall, I thought the match was absolutely brilliant, and certainly match of the night. And some would say even the match that kind of saved it a little bit because some of it was a bit kind of hit and miss. I wish the Texas death matches in AEW would follow the traditional rules where you need a pin or submission first then the ref starts a 10 count, and if you can't get up, you lose. Yep. Why not? Sure, if they're gonna have a Texas death match, they gotta go by the book, don't they? They really gotta do it. Next up, the Golden Jets. Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega picking up the win by pinfall versus the Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson. The win means that the Golden Jets will receive the tag team title match that used to belong to the Young Bucks. The one thing I would say about this is I think the boys did a decent job because trying to follow that Texas death match must have been really, really difficult. Um, and kind of at a time as well, if you look at AEW, is it fair to say AEW is going through a little bit of a transition at the moment? And maybe these four guys, I think the two boys individually, Jericho and Omega, still carry that little bit of weight and stuff like that. But I think the Bucks are trying to find themselves again, if you like. I think they found themselves a little bit out there. So I'm not too sure. But this is how it went out. I think the one thing I didn't like was I found there was too much sort of illegal interaction and stuff like that. Boys hitting the ring and stuff like that from the apron, getting involved in everything and breaking everything up and all. And I think that created the match to be a little bit disjointed. I would like it to flow more. If you look at tag matches, we want tag matches doing tag things. We want that interaction to be really good. And I suppose with the Bucks, you will get a little bit of that because they've been wrestling together for God knows how long at this stage. With Jericho and Omega, it kind of feels a little bit, I don't know. It still feels like two single guys wrestling in the match as opposed to a tag team. But I thought there was a bit too much interference from the boys on the apron holding the ropes, if you like. And it didn't let the match flow the way it should. The Bucks then at the end, of course, getting beaten, losing that tag title match that they have, throwing a little hissy fit, wrecking things, throwing things around, all the usual stuff and all. I have to say the Bucks' heels, I think, are much better than his faces. Pains me to say it and stuff like that, but let us know what you thought about it. Not a whole lot to report in it. Some of the stuff was good, some of it's what you'd expect. But I just thought the match kind of got off to that disjointed feel about it with interference after interference. But again, anyone trying to follow that Texas death match would have been tough to do. So then we got through to the main event of the evening. MJF wins by pinfall versus Jay White. How did you feel about this one? I think overall, I think the match was solid. God, that bulldog that he pulled off the apron was insane. Insane. This was my wee break match. There you go. Absolutely nothing was going to come close to following the Texas death match. Absolutely. And that's I suppose you have to have your title on last. But I don't know. Maybe what you need to do is, I know what WWE do. They normally put in a dampener match, don't they, in between things when it happens like that. When you've got a big match kind of final third of the card, what they do is they normally put in a dampener match to damp things down. I don't know whether Jericho and Omega versus the Bucks is a dampener match to dampen things down. Maybe it is. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. But yeah, it'd be tough, all right. Crazily overbooked. Why couldn't they just have had them wrestle a normal match? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but I mean that's been the thing about AEW for a while now, isn't it? Crazy overbooking, loads of matches, 4.5, 5 hour pay-per-views and all. It's too much, and I can't understand why they don't pick maybe another 2 or 3 matches and go night 1 and night 2 like what WWE do. I think that would be a much better way of doing it and stuff like that. But let's see what happens. I just think it's tough. What did we make of the main event? I thought the match itself was decent. I thought the storyline laid itself out pretty clear and stuff like that. I thought Jay White was really good at working the knee and continually going back to it and stuff like that. But the thing that really came out of the match for me is, where do you go now with Jay White? I mean, basically, you had MJF there with a busted knee. He had the use of the ring. He had the use of the towel. He had the guns on the pre-show, absolutely doing a number on him, and still couldn't get it done. So what does that mean? Because going forward now, if this happens again, we can't give Jay White any chance of getting the belt. So let me know how you felt about the main event. I liked MJF's win with the ring, because what it does is it sort of still leads us to believe that that semi-heel is still in there for when this devil thing all unfolds, which I think is a really, really good thing, and that's what we need to see and stuff like that. But I think the main thing coming out of the main event wasn't so much the storyline through from the pre-show and the knee issue and all that kind of stuff. I think the thing that came out of the main event for me is where do they go now with Jay White and how do they build them up again? Bullet Club Gold, all this kind of thing. Where does it go from here? And what happens with Jay White? Very, very difficult to see what happens now with him, He says then Will Ospreay was promised AEW title shot at All In Wembley in August. Good stuff. Who's he going to be up against? That should be interesting. Hopefully he'll get the attendance right on the tattoo. Swerve Strickland versus MJF program at Double or Nothing. Yeah, I wouldn't be too upset with that. I think the one thing that came out of that Texas Death match was Swerve has elevated right up. And I thought not only was that Swerve, I think you have to take your hat off to Hangman Page as well, who did an absolute stellar job as part of that elevation as well. And you certainly, when we talk about paying your dues to get to where you want to get to, that match will take years off your career. There's no doubt about it. So I wouldn't be very upset with Swerve versus MJF at all. How would you feel about that, folks? Would you like Swerve to take the belt? Is it time for Swerve to step up and be that guy? And if he was to get the belt, can he be that guy and maintain it at this stage now? Let us know your thoughts. But super performer. That's it. Let me know if you have any other thoughts on the pay-per-view, folks. We can talk about it more and stuff like that as it goes on. For me, the disappointment was, I suppose people were expecting Rousey to rock up as well after being on ROH. What did you make of Rousey on ROH and how it was received? Kind of mixed kind of response on how it was received and stuff like that, but I presume people just expected it to flow into full gear and stuff like that. But how are we feeling about Ronda Rousey? Is she going back out there to develop herself? She's had a lot of strong opinions about pro wrestling. Is she going out there kind of doing like what the guys and gals do when they're releasing WWE and they go back out onto the scene to redevelop themselves again? Seen it with Drew McIntyre and with a number of wrestlers. Is that what she's going to do? Is she going to go around now and kind of develop the art and get a better understanding for it and then maybe come back to WWE as a much stronger performer? Because there was obviously question marks over her as a performer, as a pro wrestler, not as an athlete by any stretch of the imagination, and as the baddest chick on the planet, no doubt about it. But is there conversation to be had about her going out there, wrestling for a number of promotions, wrestling with a number of different styles, different places, all that, maybe some New Japan stuff and all that kind of stuff? I think she might work really well in New Japan. She can incorporate some of that jiu-jitsu stuff into her style and stuff like that. And that might work really well. But what did you make of Ronda Rousey in ROH? Is this the beginning of the second or third phase of her development in pro wrestling? And will it reap rewards? Let us know. Big up, Jack. Good to see you there, man. Hope you're doing well, my friend. I don't know, Jack, if you've seen, did you see the prices of the drinks for the Liverpool Christmas market? Some guy, I think on the Echo or one of them, put up a price list for them. Absolutely insane. And this is coming from a guy in Ireland who knows about the cost of drink. I was out last night, folks. I have to say, I was at Nirvana Unplugged last night in the stadium. Absolutely stellar show. I felt like I was sitting in the MTV for Unplugged 30 years ago to the day. It was absolutely stellar. The boys knocked out of the park, and yeah, man, I thought they had dug up Kurt Cobain and got him back again, or done some DNA stranding or something like that. He was absolutely excellent, I have to say. So if you get a chance to see them, Nirvana Unplugged is the name of the gig. Absolutely outstanding. Did an hour and 15 minutes of the MTV Unplugged show, song for song. Then they did about another hour and a half of all electric, and they banged it out of the park. Brilliant, brilliant night. I sent them on next the picture of the poster. And oh, brilliant. Gent. Absolute gent, as I'll check that out. Absolutely, I'll get it printed out and whack it up on the wall somewhere in the shop. Liverpool Christmas market opened yesterday. It did, Jack. Did you see the price of the drinks? Check out the price of the drinks. They ain't cheap. And I know the cost of drinking in Liverpool, but that was outlandish. Um, LA Knight now going to be Cody fifth man for War Games after SmackDown ending. Yeah, hopefully that'll be here. We won't be too upset with that, will we? My new edit is blowing up, Niall, bro. Brilliant. Yeah, check it out. Drop a link. Drop the links in, Jack. Drop the links and spread them. All right, how are we? All good. Holland ankle injury. Don't think it's going to mean that Nasus. This is apparently he's fine. He said he's going to be fine for the game at the weekend and stuff like that. So I don't see anything there. Just going to watch I'm Celeb. Whiskey having in the background. Nice. I like it. I like it. Does anybody watch Ring of Honor? God, I used to be a big fan of it, Sean. I was a massive fan of Ring of Honor. Jack said, I went Friday evening and it was so busy and it was the lights started and like Fisher Christmas was there and that I didn't get a picture. Okay. Cool. What did we make of this, folks? Let's talk about Okada. Talk about there might be a change there. There was talk of WWE. Does the guy want to broaden his horizon now and move more out of Japan and stuff like that? How do you feel about this guy? I've seen him live a couple of times now. I have to say, from a technical point of view, in that Zack Sabre type frame, I'm very impressed with the guy. But let me know what's your thoughts on Okada, and how would he fit into WWE? And parallel that there with kind of Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura came into WWE, outstanding wrestler, and no question about him being an outstanding wrestler. But he went into WWE, absolutely fired up NXT, was outstanding, came up onto the main roster. How do you feel the development of Shinsuke Nakamura has gone since he's gone from NXT up onto the main roster, and how has it translated? Personally, I feel it's been disappointing. I think a lot of the blame probably lands on the company side. I think some of the blame lands on the performer side as well. But how do you feel about it? How have you felt about how Shinsuke has gone, and how would that parallel if Okada came in? And does Okada's style similar to, like, when you look at Zack Sabre Jr. as well? How does that style translate into the WWE universe? How do you feel about that? Let me know your thoughts on it. Jesus is in. Say Morris was absolutely drunk in the red light district after Ireland match last night. He was having a few. He sent me a few pictures on Instagram. All right, I sent him a few pictures of the Nirvana gig, and he was on the Jemison from very early stages, and probably well needed. Looking at that match last night, probably well needed. But listen, he's away. He's having a lot of fun, and that's the important thing. Talk to me about this, folks. Survivor Series. Team Bianca Belair gets their member in there. Becky Lynch joining Charlotte Flair and Shotzi. How do you feel about this? Is this become now more about Team Damage Control versus Team Bianca Belair, or has it become more about whether Charlotte and Becky can coexist on a team when we know the history that's been in there? We've seen the Austin podcast. We've seen the conversations. We've seen the legit backstage heat that exists between these girls, a friendship that unraveled, all that kind of stuff. How is this going to work now? Or are we leading towards potentially a feud into WrestleMania? Becky versus Charlotte. Will this unravel at Survivor Series? Can these girls coexist? Are we going to get a clean situation in here with Team Bianca Belair, or what way is it going to work? Let us know your thoughts on this. But certainly it's very interesting. Acers, unfortunately, Triple H Okada dream will never happen because he will never be leaving New Japan. You don't think he'll ever leave New Japan? Because there's been a lot of talk with him being linked with a move away. Now, naturally, I think he would still honor, anything that New Japan want him to do and stuff like that. And it's kind of a little bit in the Ospreay vein as well. I think Ospreay a big section of Ospreay's heart will always be in New Japan for the opportunity that they gave him. And I don't think he would dirty that bib either. And I think Okada would be the same because Okada is New Japan, really. You know what I mean? But if you want to become global superstar, a global sensation, then you gotta go to the States, don't you? You gotta go to WWE or AEW or whatever it is, and you gotta develop from there and stuff like that. And also, but I don't know, it'd be an interesting one, but I would just fear like the Shinsuke one. I've been so disappointed in the Shinsuke one, to be honest with you. I just thought he was outstanding. Number of times I've seen him in NXT, he was absolutely phenomenal. And then he just came up onto the main roster, and it just, for me, just dumped. One of them nearly took my point last night. Yeah, they do that, Dad. You got to be careful with that. 100%. That's a normal trick. Eric saying, how are you? Hi, Niall. Just arrived. Reception around last night's main event seems pretty mixed. Yeah, and I think it's more. I don't think it's the actual match itself. I think the storyline, the way they built it from the pre-show with the knee and the guns and all that kind of stuff, all the way through to the main event. I think it just seemed weird. It just seemed weird in 2023. But let us know your thoughts. But I just think in terms of, I think it's more the fallout now for Jay White. Where do they go with Jay White now, who had so much on his side and couldn't get the job done? So how do we arrive? How do we arrive at a title change when he had so much going for him and couldn't beat him? And then what do we do now with Jay White? How do they elevate and bring Jay White up again? What do they do with Jay White? Where does he fit in? What happens as we wait for the unveiling of this devil and, Adam Cole's foot to heel and be back past to wrestle and all that kind of stuff. So it's just a kind of a bit of a mess at the moment. It's like they're kind of filling a void at the moment of where they want to get to, but they can't get there because of injuries and various things like that. And also, I don't know, but I kind of felt for that situation last night, and you've seen it even online as well. If you go on X and all these places and the reviews and stuff like that, a lot of it now is what now for Jay White, and that's the case. What now is it for Jay White? Lego Maniac, how are you? Welcome to the show, my friend. Think it's past his time personally. Yeah, I think so as well. I have to agree with you there. I just kind of, even this latest stuff and all and stuff like that, it's just kind of like just weird. But yeah, let us know your thoughts, folks. Let us know what you thought of this. Can these two girls coexist for Survivor Series, or will Team Bianca Belair implode against Damage Control? Let's see what happens there. I have to say, I really like Shotzi's look. She's out there like she should be a shoe in for the Judgment Day, shouldn't she? She looks the business. Uh, I think they tried a bit too hard to make MJF seem like a sympathetic babyface, and Jay White push seems to have been killed stone dead because he couldn't beat someone on one leg. Absolutely. One leg, ring, towel, all this kind of stuff, you know what I mean? And like he had everything going for him last night, yeah. And I think it is that sort of sympathetic babyface stuff. You're spot on there, Eric, yeah. And then the crying and the scrum with the pickles and all, and it's just, you know what I mean? It's just from what we've experienced with him over the last 18 months to 2 years, MJF, um, it's a stretch. It's a stretch even for us as wrestling fans, I think. So yeah, difficult one to call at the moment, but be interesting to see how it all kind of winds out. But you do still see that there is that little bit of a heel there still. Um, they need to find a pathway through this devil thing and Adam Cole thing to bring it out and make it happen, don't they? It's kind of like sympathetic babyface MJF. Not too sure. Not too sure. Having said that, I think on X and various places like that, he's absolutely electric at the moment in terms of some of the stuff. Not very babyfacious either, like, you know what I mean? You hear he put out a chat there about Chris Benoit. We probably talk about it on Wednesday and stuff like that, and I'll share his thoughts on various things and stuff like that. Bit like Gunther, having a go off a lot of the old legends, let's say. Interesting thoughts. Let's round it out with this one. What do you make? 11 years on, The Shield from their debut. What was your thoughts on The Shield when they debuted? I thought they were cool. I thought the music was cool. I thought the entrance down through the crowd, I thought was cool. I thought a lot of it was cool. And you look at those three fresh-faced guys there now. How have you felt things have gone since the breakup? Since things have unravelled. Look at Rollins there. Look at how Rollins looks there. How fresh-faced he looks there. Literally 2 years on from Tyler Black probably or whatever when he was in NXT and stuff like that. And in ROH. But how have you felt about Seth Rollins and his development and stuff like that, character-wise and what he's done? Reigns, we know how he's developed and stuff like that. It's been outstanding, especially under Heyman with the bloodline stuff. Again, most of us would think has run most of its course at this stage. Dean Ambrose, always felt with Dean Ambrose, he was just a little bit out of place in WWE. Never came across like he enjoyed his job. And true to form, we remember the Austin podcast and stuff like that, where it was just these uncomfortable silences in it and stuff like that and all, wasn't there? But I thought these three guys, when they came in, were absolutely brilliant. That time when they attacked Ryback and stuff like that and all, and I was thought, here we go, this is something fresh. And I enjoyed it. Three outstanding performers on their day. Then Rollins going in with Triple H and with Stephanie attacked the two boys, which was kind of cool. But yeah, 11 years on. Can you believe it, folks? 11 years on since we've had the Shield. It was even funnier during the scrum because they forgot to turn off the generic white and rock music on their YouTube channel for the first few minutes. And MJF was going, yeah, I seen that. Did you see that, Eric? And then it stopped right as he bit into the pickle. It was like someone was doing it on purpose, wasn't it? Because how can the timing be that good? Right as he bit into the pickle, the music went. It was crazy. What's happened to Danhausen not being seen since last week backstage? No idea. No idea. I don't follow Danhausen that close. Danhausen is a kind of an enigma, really, isn't he? He's like strange. But I have to say, folks, and I'll tell you this now, I've gone to a couple of WrestleCons in the States when I've been over there. The popularity of that guy is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I walked through WrestleCon and I went by tables. Adam Cole, Britt Baker, Johnny Gargano, and tables like that, just to name a few. I'm not picking them out purposely. And I tell you, I went by Danhausen's table. Queues packed out. So whatever that guy's doing, is his finger on the pulse, and he knows his audience. But no idea. Henry, what's the crack, Niall? Good to see you, pal, and you, pal. Hope you are doing well. And how are you, Daz? They were a good faction, Niall. They certainly were a good faction. Interesting, yeah, absolutely. I just thought they looked cool. I'll give you a little story, guys. We used to in the shop. We used to sell, the vest. They used to do the Roman Reigns vest, the replica vest. And we used to put them up on the shop page and stuff like that we had the Roman Reigns vests in and stuff like that. So they look like Kevlar vests, basically. And I had a guy from, dare I say, I think he was from either Iraq or Iran or one of those countries. And he hit me up on the page and he wanted to buy one of the vests. And we got into a conversation. I think he actually thought, from what I can gather, I think he thought it was a legit vest. Legit Kevlar vest. And I was explaining to him that it was the vest that Roman Reigns wears in the Shield. It was a WWE vest. It wasn't like a bulletproof vest or anything like that. And it got a little bit uncomfortable, the conversation, because my fear was that this guy, he wanted to order one of these vests. And I said, yeah, no problem. We can order one and send it out to you. I was asking him, is he a wrestling fan and all this kind of thing? I don't think he knew a whole lot about wrestling. But I think he thought I was selling these bulletproof vests. And my fear was that if he bought one of these and I sent it out to him, and he was kind of hiding and he got hit in an ambush or something like that, whatever happens in these countries, that this guy would be lit up with bullets and there'd be no bulletproof vest. This guy would be blown away. And I had to keep on pushing it through to him on the conversation that, like, this is not an actual bulletproof vest. This is like a gimmick vest that the wrestlers wear going down to the ring and all. But it was a crazy, crazy, crazy conversation. But my fear was that, like, I'd sell him one of these vests thinking he's a wrestling fan. This guy gets shot. And the next thing I'm sitting here in the gaff one day and this family rock up wanting to kill me or something like that. But crazy, crazy stuff. Crazy, crazy stuff. Yo, Henry, I'm okay. And you, nothing planned till Thursday, short this week. I'm sick. Just put my schedule up for tomorrow. Hope you're doing all right, Henry. Hope you're not too bad. Um, this this is your line up for Celeb. This year's line up for I'm a Celeb is awful. I just those shows I find are just weird. I just find those shows are weird. I'm kind of weirded out by those shows, the likes of Love Island, Big Brother, I'm a Celebrity, all those things. People don't come out of that right in the head, I think. And I think some of those shows need to be looked at. All these ones like, what's it, 90 Day Fiance, all this kind of stuff, garbage that goes out there now. People's lives just get destroyed. Their brains just turn to liquid mala or something like that, or Play-Doh or something like that. It's crazy. Lego Maniac, up Niall, it's Jack. You well? I am well, Jack. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Like that. I like that profile picture as well. Profile picture, I'm very impressed with it, as you can see. I'm a Star Wars guy as well, as you know. Jack is in. Henry, why don't you do a watch along for I'm a Celeb? Not even the thoughts of it. Jack, are you a big I'm a Celeb fan? Interesting to hear people's thoughts on that and stuff like that. That's most of what I have, folks, unless you want to chat about anything else or drop anything into the chat. But we've gone through, that's a review of AEW Full Gear 2023. Some outstanding moments, some kind of really didn't deliver, still plenty of work to do. As Sean said in it, a bit of overbooking and stuff like that. Still think that there's be too. Last night was incredible. Yeah, absolutely. We spoke about it, Eric. Yeah, the Texas Death Match last night was incredible. And it's not really my thing, but I thought they were absolutely unbelievable. The two boys and the elevation of Swerve out of that now, as I said earlier, with man, a big part to play in that. I thought the finish as well was really, really good for it. Wasn't mad into the blood. Not the blood, but the blood into the mouth kind of thing and all stuff like that. I thought that was just a bit too much for me. Maybe not for everyone. Henry, do you know if anyone is the England watch along tomorrow? Jamie normally does. Does Jamie do watch alongs for the England games? I think Jack might do them as well. Does he on Anfield Road TV? Does he do watch along for the England games? There'll be a few of them out there. I know Lee Gunner will definitely be doing a watch along for the England game. He normally covers them and stuff like that. Corvo's in. Big up, lads. All set, Corvo. Week of football nearly coming up now. We'll be back next weekend and all that kind of stuff. So really looking forward to it. Not really a fan. I like to do what I like to watch it though. Yeah, I don't know. I just find those shows weird. Really, really weird. I love watching shows like, like those celebrity SAS shows and stuff like that, where they put you through the army training and that kind of thing, and they try and break you mentally and stuff like that. I don't know whether I want to be dropped in a desert dropped in a forest and starved and being expected to eat fucking eyeballs and bull's nuts and bugs and all that kind of stuff. Not really for me, and I don't necessarily want to be in a box of rats either, trying to gain food vouchers and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't really appeal to me. I don't know that. Sorry. Hope your weekend has been okay. No, Henry, I had a brilliant weekend. I went out to a gig last night with my son Ben. He's big into music and he loves Nirvana. He loves a lot of that rock, grungy type scene. He's big into, the Foo Fighters and all that kind of stuff and Green Day. He likes a big mix of stuff. But we went to a gig last night, which was a Nirvana Unplugged gig. It was a tribute band. And I have to say they were sensational. Sensational. I actually felt I'd been teleported back 30 years to MTV Unplugged watching them. And then they did a banger of an electric set after. And this old boy even got up and he was jumping around in the mosh pits and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. Feeling it today from my sins. But I had a real, real good time. Carvo's in. Will Ospreay All Elite. I'm buzzing about it. Means he can still do Japan dates. Yeah, I think that's the big thing that came out of the Will Ospreay one, wasn't it? I don't think it was it wasn't so much Will Ospreay is all elite. It's Will Ospreay goes all elite, and he can still maintain and do a lot of the stuff he wants to do, which I thought was cool. Just bawled my eyes out with Angela Ribbon exiting Strictly. Jesus. You guys get invested in these, don't you? Who do you think will be in this tournament coming up? No idea. Haven't even looked at it yet. Give me some context on it and I'll let you know. Absolutely ridiculous. France scored 14 goals last night. It was absolutely ridiculous. And I was getting the updated scores when I was at the gig, and Ben was showing it to me and stuff like that. And I was going, when it gets to a certain score line, should they not just cut the game like what they do with junior football and stuff like that? To go out there and allow a team beat another international team 14-0 says a lot about the mentality of FIFA and UEFA and stuff like that. No, I don't like to see that. I don't like to see that at all. Yeah, it was. Corvo, I love the grunge saying Pearl Jam, Blind Melon, and Soundgarden are my all-time favourites. Corvo does a rockathon coming up. We got flyers last night for a rockathon. It's in May, and it's in Fairyhouse Race Course. It's a big racetrack, horse racing track, and it's a rockathon. It's about 11 or 12 hours, I think. And it's all tribute bands. It's about €60 to go to it. It's all tribute bands, and Pearl Jam are on the list and stuff like that. So you should check it out. It might be worth coming over for. But yeah, we had a great night last night, and we didn't even drink that much, to be honest. So I was driving, so I wasn't drinking, but Ben didn't even drink that much because he just wanted to enjoy it. But it was really, really cool, I have to say. Tony Khan announced that Continental Championship last night in the press conference, including Ring of Honor and New Japan Openweight Championship. That'll be interesting. I do like the crossover shows, but I think what they need to do with those crossover shows and stuff like that, they need to do a better job of educating their audience of some of the guys that they bring in. I think sometimes when they bring in some of the Japan guys and stuff like that, you can hear a penny drop and it just kills the atmosphere and the situation. So I think they could do a better job of profiling these guys. They are big stars in their own right, but I think once they drop them in and stuff like that, I think that's sometimes where it falls down. Was Onan goals for Gibraltar? No, I think he's injured now, isn't he, Carvo? Yeah, I think he's injured. Didn't he get injured? And I think Rashford got injured as well. So mounting up there at United at the moment. But yeah, I don't think it would have mattered even if Alisson Becker was on goals last night for Gibraltar when you have such a mismatch like that, and it was just, it's horrible to watch as well. You know what I mean? It gets up, like, how can you enjoy that? We love seeing goals being scored and all, but when you're talking about the difference in quality there and stuff like that, how do you arrive at that as a matchup even? You know what I mean? That's why I really think in terms of the qualifying and the way they do the draws and stuff like that and all, they have to do it in a different way. There has to be a tiering system or something like that, because we're getting a lot of the same teams qualifying all the time. And a lot of the smaller nations are really struggling. And a lot of the reason why they're really struggling is they can't generate enough money and enough revenue and everything else to be able to compete at that level and stuff like that, to be able to bring in top coaches and sports nutrition and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? So then you get a team like Gibraltar going out there getting absolutely pumped by France, and you know, it's just ridiculous. Sounds like my cup of tea, buddy. Carvo, you'd be all over it, man. It was class. Niall, you got the new FIFA. I don't play games. I don't play games at all. I don't play the wrestling, the UFC, FIFA, or any of those games. Don't have the time. Too much time invested in those games. Dylan, my other son, he does a bit of gaming and stuff like that, but he loves he's playing the new release of Fortnite or something like that at the moment, and he just got NBA 2K24, is it? Kobe Bryant edition, so he's mad at the basketball as well. So he plays those kind of games. And then often I'll walk by his room as well and I'll see him, he's playing a bit of Minecraft in 2023. Check that out. I'm wondering who the person in the devil mask in AEW. Hope it's Dolph Ziggler. I think we seen the guy throughout the show last night, didn't we? I think most people think it's going to be Adam Cole, isn't it? They think it's Adam Cole, and the reason he isn't being revealed is because he's still hobbling around on the broken foot and he isn't cleared to wrestle. So the talk is very strongly at the moment Adam Cole, but we shall see. Last night would have been a cool night to do the reveal, but I don't think based on what we're saying at the moment, the reveal would obviously lead to some sort of a turn and an angle. But if the guy can't wrestle, Annie, will you be doing the darts watch along next weekend or the World Championships? I love the darts at Christmas. It's class, isn't it? Class. It's such a. It's mad when we look at the coming into the Christmas period now, isn't it? Some of these things are such a fabric in our lives, aren't they? The darts, the football, all very Christmassy type of stuff and all. It's cool. Um, I wish they got KSI in this. I'm a celeb. That would be quality. Yeah, imagine they just got in a load of those YouTuber guys. I did see Ben Williams the other day having a punch up with your man Ed Matthews or something like that. Was it backstage at a Misfits thing? They kicked off and they gave each other a few smacks to say the least, which looked interesting. Hallen's injured. Yeah, I think it's all Henry. I think he'd be fine for the match though. I think it's all just a lot of it sounds like he was in pain, but it wasn't that serious. I think he'd be okay for the game. Pep will play the games anyway about all these players not available because they're all carrying knocks and stuff like that. And then on the day they all show up and they play. This is what he does. Eddie Kingston will be defending both championships and tournament coming up. Not too bad. Have they set matches for him yet, Acers or not? I haven't seen that. When Tony Bellew will make this year's I'm a Celeb better as much as he's a blue nose. Yeah, absolutely. And he plenty to say the other day. I did like his reaction the other day to the Everton points deduction, and we will be talking about it, of course, tomorrow night with Mark. Diaz scoring twice against Brazil. Yeah, that was cool. And Darwin as well picking up the winner in his game as well. Pretty cool as well. I like the moment Acers at the end of the match, himself and Becker sharing a moment, himself and Allison sharing a moment at the end of the game as well. But I am not liking the talk that the dad's coming out with all this Barcelona talk at the moment and stuff like that. I'm not really enjoying that side of it either. And I heard the club as well has flown the family over for Christmas and all, haven't they, and stuff like that. And also, that's pretty cool to have his family around him and stuff like that. But, if the club is going to do that and if the club is going to take these strides that it does, let's relax about the Barcelona talk. You know what I mean? Let's have a little bit of respect. Aces, do you know who was in it? I don't think much has been decided yet, has it, Corvo? I've been addicted to the RoboCop game. Oh, really? Yeah. What way is it? Is it based on the old school stuff, or is it a sort of a new shooter type game or something like that? But yeah, remember the movie? That movie's unbelievable. Remember driving the car out at the start of the movie, and your man covered in all the acid gear, and he just hits the screen and just boom, just goes into smithereens. That was crazy. I was trying to watch AEW Full Gear on my phone last night during work. Yeah, it's tough on the small screen. Tough on the small screen, absolutely. Not a fan of darts since Phil the Power Taylor retired. Yeah, he used to bring the needle, didn't he? He always had great walkouts as well. One of the girls who was one of his walkout girls actually in the darts is a girl I know. His friends were on social media. She's married to Andres Townsend. She had a baby for him there as well, and she's a girl. I think she's originally from Wexford or something like that. Lovely girl, absolutely gorgeous, cracking looking girl as well. So fair play to him. How old's your son, mate? If you don't mind me asking. Ben is 20 and Dylan he'll be 17 at the start of December. So two big lads. Ben was in the mosh pit last night, jumping around, body surfing, all that kind of stuff, bouncing off lads. And it was a mad gig as well, folks, as well, because like there was kids there, like 6, 7, 8-year-olds and stuff like that and all, and they were up on their dad's shoulders and all. It was an all ages gig. But I've seen kids walking around, 8-year-old kids and all with Nirvana hoodies on them and stuff like that and all. So it was a real cool gig the way it was organized, real unusual as well, but really cool and really nice to see generations within a family passing down their love of music historically from way back and stuff like that, that there was an appreciation there for it. Henry, can you do I'm a Celeb watch-alongs, please? Can you imagine? I don't like I'm a Celeb program. I'm not surprised. Put Russo and Cornhead in I'm a Celeb. Can you imagine? Imagine putting them in Big Brother, Corvo. Put them in Big Brother. That would be crazy. Can you imagine the visits to the diary room? They'd kill each other. Yeah, it was Ben Williams. Once in next Misfits event. Yeah, saying that actually, Jack. Yeah, it was a few nice punches. Great that AEW did Clash of Champions 17 knee injury angle with MJF. Last night, Adam Cole revealed by look on his face, end of pre-show. Yeah, absolutely. Henry, fair enough. Absolutely. Did you see Messi commented on Darwin? I didn't. I didn't see it at all. What did he say? What you got coming up on your channel, Niall? We have the Monday mashup tomorrow, so we're going to be talking about the points deduction and lots of other stuff. We'll talk about the international break as well and how we feel about the volume of football and all that kind of stuff, and other headlines out there as well. We talk about some of the stuff going on at United with the takeover and the changes and all that kind of stuff. We'll probably do a quick look back as well and see so far we're about just over whatever it is, just under a third of a way through the season now. Where do we see it lying and what do we see happening and unfolding and all that kind of stuff? So there'll be a general chit chat most of it, but we will be heavily focusing on the points deduction, what it means to Everton, and the appeal and all this other stuff, the suing of them for the money and all that kind of stuff, and how does this translate over into the Chelsea situation? How does it translate over into the Man City situation? All that kind of stuff is all alleged at the moment. It's charged, but it's not like nothing is confirmed. So a lot of talk. I've seen a lot of talk over the last few days where they seen the evidence situation. Everyone said, but what about Man City? But Man City hasn't come to the end of the situation yet, so we don't know, but we can we can talk about what could potentially happen and stuff like that. Then Wednesday I'll be back with Pro Wrestling Weekly, our normal show. We'll be looking ahead towards Survivor Series next weekend. Going to be a great weekend next weekend. Man City, Liverpool, Survivor Series, loads of great stuff coming up. So it's going to be a banger of a weekend coming up this weekend. Then Thursday, Tier Talk. And then Friday, I think I'm going to be doing a preview for the City game, which should be interesting. Talking about lineups and all that kind of stuff and what way it's going to go and stuff. And we'll have a better feel on Friday in terms of players returning, any injuries, who's available, and what way it's going to go technically and stuff like that. Obviously, if Haaland doesn't make it and other players don't make it, then how does that change the approach, or does it change the approach? We'll see what happens. Would love to be in Australia this time of year. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, it should be great. Firmino's dad passed away from a heart attack. So sad for the family. Yeah, absolutely. Heartbreaking. Really, it really isn't. I don't mean that in a funny way, but yeah, it's very sad. And I wonder what age he was as well, because Bobby isn't that old either. So I'm thinking, is his dad? Wonder what age his dad was. What age is Bobby now? His dad's probably early 60s, is he? If even 60, I would imagine, So very sad, Henry. It's a new game, but they brought Peter Weller in to voice Murphy and used his likeness. Oh, nice. Interesting. I'll get him to check that out. Big up Jack can't be credited for the profile. Also, think MJF will actually go to WWE after he drops the belt. Would be interesting. That would be interesting. How do you think, folks, MJF would fit into the WWE universe? What way would that work? Henry, yeah, I seen that. Very sad for him and his family. Yeah, really sad. Eric's in. Really like that WWE is testing the waters with many places across the world. Almost makes American audiences look weak as a whole, though. Yeah, I think the TKO and the Endeavor thing. I mean, they're really looking at the bigger global picture and stuff like that, and where they can monopolize revenue and all that kind of stuff. Backlash in France is going to be electric. That the Bash in Berlin, I think, is going to be electric. Definitely Elimination Chamber in Perth is going to be electric. That is absolutely monstrous, absolutely huge. And I think it's good, and I think in a way, Eric, as well, it is signaling to the American audience as well. Is it a kind of an indirect way of saying get your shit together? So which isn't a bad thing, but certainly interesting. But I love when they take stuff on the road. Listen, wrestling was built on the carnival model. It was built on going around that whole circus thing. So it should be on the road, and it should be further reaching and stuff like that. Who knows? One day we may get a WrestleMania in Europe, which would be absolutely cool. But also, I think in Ireland as well, I think at this stage, we're probably due a premium live event. I mean, if you look at all the Irish in there and how good we've done and stuff like that as well, I think has to be room there to do a premium live event in Ireland. Again, the issue really is weather and stuff like that, but we shall see. On a bit older than me, as I'm 15. Yeah, absolutely. Just a tad. Dylan's 16 at the moment, so he'll be 17 December the 7th. So looking forward to that. I misled was good when Ginola was in it. Yeah, it's just it's the mix that you bring in, isn't it? It's the mix that you bring in. But if you do like those shows, folks, I would suggest go watch Celebrity SAS. It's really, really good. They got some really older celebs in there and all. Kerry Katona was in it, Melinda Messenger was in it, Alexander Burke was in it. I'll tell you, I'll give you a hint. There was I think there was a US version of it as well. And do you know who did really well in it? Spoiler alert, and you'll laugh at this. And she was in it. And when she was in it at the start, I was laughing, going, "What is she doing in there? She has no chance." Jojo Siwa was in the American one. She was absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Check that out, folks. Messi spoke highly of Darwin. The goat knows the future goat. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I only speak highly of him. Darwin's great. Mad Squad is dropping like someone. Squid Game. That is mad, Carvo, isn't it? When you think about it, what a difference a couple of weeks makes. Spurs were absolutely flying. Now they're in the mud. You guys were absolutely flying. Remember at the back of that PSG game and stuff like that? You were absolutely flying. And then it just falls like a deck of cards. It's crazy how football changes. And that's why I say to people when it comes to football, don't assume anything. Look at United now potentially going into a game against Everton at Goodison this weekend. Points deduction. Those Everton fans will be fired up. Us against them, the whole kind of thing going on. United potentially maybe without Onana injured, Rashford injured. Where are they going to find these players? Who's going to play and all? And it's just mad the way it happens. And we experienced it last season. I said to people last season, we started last season missing 11 for squad players. And we were told, "Oh, Liverpool, you're big enough, just get on with it." It's mad the way it changes. And we've even had a number of issues, but not to the extent of anyone else. Most of our players have stayed reasonably fit, touch wood and stuff like that. But certainly we've had players that were missing as well. So Heyman promo and John Cena was comedy gold. It was unbelievable, wasn't it, Acers? Unbelievable. Really trying to push the solo thing and stuff like that. And also, Heyman's just like that, isn't he? He's mad. Laugh out loud. This Aston Villa fans are arguing with these Liverpool fans on my channel on my new edit. I was just sitting back. I was lit to get some popcorn. Yeah, absolutely. It's great when they kick off and you're just on the sideline. You're not in the middle. When you're in the middle of it, though, it's tough. Niall, I would love if I done a watch along on Xmas Eve. That would be sick. Wouldn't be for me, Jack. I wouldn't be of same body or mind for that. We do some great stuff here Christmas Eve and stuff like that. It's a big, big family day and stuff like that. So we love it. I would argue our Christmas Eve is probably bigger than our Christmas Day. Stephen Kenny final game on Tuesday against the All Blacks. Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Yeah, has to be the case, doesn't it? I think 62. 62. Okay, yeah. Oh, Firmino's dad, yeah. It's terrible. So young. Like it's sad to see it and stuff like that and all, you know what I mean? And the funny thing about it, I tell you, he probably wishes he was probably still in Liverpool getting all that very close support that you would get. I'm sure he's getting the support out there in Saudi Arabia, but when these things happen, when you're in the Premier League with teams like Liverpool and Man United and Newcastle and Arsenal and all these teams, they really row in behind you in tough times like that, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Well, what do you think of Billy Corgan, Greenlight and James Mitchell, white powder drug angle and losing the CW network deal? Oh I'll give you a laugh, lads. We're going to the Royal Rumble in Tampa, and one of the nights down there, I think it's in Hogan's. This bar Hogan has with Flair, this karaoke bar. And one of the nights down there, one of the lads was on to me, and he said to me, James Mitchell is doing a karaoke night down there, and I'd love to go to it. And I told him, not a chance. I'd have no interest. But there you go. You think about these networks and stuff, Carver. What do you think of them and stuff like that? They kind of pick and choose their battles when it suits them, don't they? Yeah, like they'll put it out there, that kind of thing, and it costs them this, that, and the other, and stuff like that. But then on the other hand, they put other stuff out, and you're going, is this really worse than this? But you're picking your battles and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just mad, mad stuff. But should we be surprised? MJF has already signed new AEW contract already. So he ain't going nowhere, Acers. You don't think he's staying where he is? Putting my Xmas decks up on decorations up on Tuesday. Have you put yours up yet, Niall? And if not, when are you putting them up? we have a kind of a little unwritten rule in this house. Dylan's birthday is on the 7th of December, so we don't put them up. We put them up kind of in around that day and stuff like that. So we put them up to have the house decorated for his birthday. So that's how we go about it. Now we don't. It's not religious, Jack, in the way that we do it in terms of like we don't religiously stick to it there. Something as we start picking up things and we start picking up a few decorations, throughout November and December and stuff like that, we don't put them away with the other decorations. They kind of start finding their way into position. So you kind of start decorating late November, early December, and it just flows into the full decorating mode then and stuff like that. But yeah, Eric, um, yeah, premium live event in Crow Park. Imagine that, unreal. Corvo SummerSlam Crow Park. Let's go. Absolutely be class, wouldn't it? If they do something like that, guys, you got to travel over. If you're not in Ireland, travel over. We'll have a melter of a weekend. Bobby is 32, Niall. Yeah, 32, and the Das 62. Henry was saying very, very sad. You know what I mean? Very sad, and I think the one thing you find as well, and not dissimilar to ourselves as well, but if you look at those, you look at the Brazilian boys and stuff like that, and those South American players as well. Family is everything to them, isn't it? You see the whole thing that happened with Luis Diaz now. Family is absolutely everything. And I'm not saying it's not over here either. It is. But when you see those boys, all they do is strive to succeed, to provide for their families and give them a better life and stuff like that. So yeah, very sad. But he must have been so proud of Bobby as well. Like so, Bobby can take sort of consolation in that really, that he achieved everything he could with Liverpool and stuff like that, and the dad must have been hugely proud of what his son had achieved. Yeah, I watched it the other night as nothing was on. The Celebrity SAS is good. Yeah, it's really good, Jack. It's well worth a watch. Isn't Matt? Yeah, Matt Hancock is on it as well. Yeah, another teaser as well, lads. He didn't. He did good. He started off a little bit ropey, but I won't spoil it for you. But he did decent. Everton 10-point deduction doesn't even matter because they will be finished in 14 or 15 position in May. Yeah, I think that's the case. I don't think they'll have an issue. I made the point the other day compared to last season. If there was ever a time for Everton to get a points deduction, now this is the perfect time to get it. And I think even if you look at the Premier League and the FA when they issued the point deduction, I think they were kind of saying in the back of their heads as well, we'll give them the point deduction now, looking on the balance of everything that's going on with the teams that are down there and stuff like that. Everton finding a bit of form and starting to pick up points and pick up wins. They should be able to work their way out of there reasonably enough. I was looking at it the other day. I think is it one win or something nearly lifts them parallel with the bottom three and stuff like that, and then another couple of wins and they'd be out of there as well. And boy, God, that Goodison crowd and that Everton team are going to be fired up for Man United next weekend. That's for sure. Get ready. Strap yourselves in for that is the game. Forget about City and Liverpool is going to be class, but wait till you see Everton and Man United is going to be spectacular. And we know how good the build-ups are going to be. Can you imagine the build-ups are going to be us versus them? It's going to be class. But yeah, I think you're right, Aces. I think they did them a solid, and I think they need to be careful about the appeal because I don't know what way the appeal works. Does it work like the way the player stuff works, Aces? So if they appeal the 10 points or whatever it is, if that appeal goes wrong, can it be extended to 12 or 14 points, or does it just stay in the 10 points? I don't see much changing though. I think for years we've all said as football fans that it's about time they needed to focus on these things, rein it in, and someone needs to be punished. Everton happened to be the first, and you know what I mean by the first, where this point deduction thing. So I think that's the start of it. And I think everyone's always saying, "Oh, but what about Chelsea? What about Man City?" Like their time will eventually come. They're gonna have to be answerable for what's gone on, one way or another. Everything just happened to be one breach, and it seemed to be fairly straightforward. It's black and white. But we'll talk about it tomorrow night because I have a lot to talk about in it when you delve down into the bones of it. And, you start talking about, well, these accounts were signed off by accountants and all this kind of thing. And how come if the due diligence was done and it was okay for them, how come it's not okay for the FA and the Premier League and all that kind of stuff? And you get into this kind of middle ground and stuff like that. No, so we'll save it for that. It'll be good on the show tomorrow night. New Liverpool home kit for next season looks mint. Is that the one with the pinstripes? I did see something. If it's the one with the pinstripes, I do like it. Term to go for that because he crossed the Trashford, missed an open goal, and went in for a slide tackle. My Starbley. Yeah, Rashford and England. England the other night were just Aces, yeah, the return of the yellow and gold. Yellow and gold. Steve Bruce should go on I'm a Celeb. He wouldn't be complaining with beans and rice. Steve Bruce wouldn't last an I'm a Celeb whatsoever. You kill me. That guy loves the grub. He'd be eating people. I don't get them people who put their Xmas sticks up a week before Christmas. It's pointless. You will have to put them away like a day after Boxing Day. No, we don't do that. You put your decorations away the day after Boxing Day. Is that the norm over there? We don't normally put our decorations away until what's the date over here, boys? Refresh me. I think somewhere around the 8th or 10th of January is when we put decorations away. You know, you put your decorations away after Boxing Day. So that's very short. I didn't know that was the case. Let me know, folks. Is that the norm over there? Decorations go away the day after Boxing Day? Oh, I wouldn't like that now. That's very short. Pay Bruce in a downer kebab. Want to be a downer kebab the size of a minivan. What do you make of Mayonnaise and Firmino and Hendo start in Saudi? I don't know because I haven't watched a whole lot of it. I think as far as now they're doing okay, are they? I heard the attendances are horrific. Did I read a report there last week or the week before that Hendo was playing a match in front of 800 people or something like that? Let me know, folks. But I don't really like how do you just have Saudi League? You know, it's just all the teams are basically all owned by the same person, really. And it's just the different levels of wealth. I don't know. It's a strange one to me. Europa League final hotels prices in Dublin absolutely robbery. I won't have to worry about that. I don't need to get a hotel, thank God. I watched one Saudi game and it was Al Hilal versus Etihad. Never, ever, ever again. I'm watching them. Yeah, it's probably a tough watch. I did see the highlights from one game there the other day, wasn't it? And a couple of decent goals were scored in it and stuff like that. But the games are very open, very, very open. The one thing I noticed in looking at some of the highlights as well is the space between the defence and the midfield and the forward line is huge. And also the spacing between the players. It nearly, when I was looking at one of them there last week, the week before, it looked like, remember the old soccer game on the bars that you get in the pubs and in the arcades? You know, the players are on the bars and you twist them and stuff like that. The game's just so open. Like, imagine imagine a Mo Salah over there or a Harry Kane. This is why it's interesting to see how this is all going to evolve this season. Mo Salah potentially going over there. What Mo Salah going to do in Saudi Arabia? He's got about 150 goals or something like that. It's crazy. If Everton don't win their appeal, their fans will get someone in a headlock again, like they did with one of their board of directors. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I don't know. I'm thinking take your punishment and move on and don't appeal. I don't know what the appeal is going to do if you can get higher points and stuff like that. I think they're still in a very strong position and I don't see them having a problem avoiding relegation. So they can dust down the breach that they did, take the 10 points on the chin and move on. The question is what's going to fall out of it in terms of Chelsea and Man City. That's what's going to happen because they're all very, very different things, which might be approached in a very, very different way. And look, good Lord, if 10 points for one breach is what's given out, and City were to be found guilty of the 115 charges or say 100 charges if you don't want to worry about the length of the grass and things like that. No. Where does that put them down? In some D League down in Wales or something like that, or playing in a Astro 5-a-side or something like that? It'd be crazy. Imagine if Chelsea and Manchester City lose all Premier League title wins. Yeah, the kind of the Lance Armstrong effect, isn't it, with the Tour de France and stuff like that and all. Imagine if both were relegated. I was talking there, thinking about the other day. Imagine if City and Chelsea were relegated, or even City, say, for argument's sake. Imagine how competitive the league would be. The 4, 5, 6 teams maybe all going for the Premier League. That would be spectacular, you know, unreal. Are decorations going back into the attic on January the 2nd? Not for me. Not for me. I think we're around. I think it's something like the 7th or something. What's Little Christmas again or something like that? Isn't there something else in January? is it called Little Christmas or something like that? And apparently, if you take your decorations down before then, believed in this country anyway, it's supposed to be bad luck or something like that. But we're normally around a week into January before we take them down. I know we have Saudi owners, but the Saudi league is big. Yeah, it is, yeah, isn't it? But Carvo, it's not that bad if you're getting Ruben Neves out of it. That's all I'll say. But that's for a different conversation, Carvo, isn't it? I don't put any decks up as it's just me, but in the family home, the tree will go up about a week before Christmas and stay up for a while. Yeah, we're normally, as I said, we're normally December the 7th. We're roughly a month. I'd imagine it's December the 7th to January the 7th. So that's when we have decorations up. Henry, you should try and put a few up. Even if it's only you, try and put a few up. Not like a few decorations to change the mood and cheer people up and all that kind of stuff. I know at times it's tough. I know some people as well at that time of year find Christmas a tough time. For some people, it doesn't necessarily remind them of a joyous time. Maybe they lost someone or reminds them of a poor time in their life and that kind of thing and all. Christmas, I say it all the time, Christmas, it's not for everyone. But if it is for you, I think you should enjoy it to the fullest if you can. Now January here, Niall. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, definitely not boxing the day after Boxing Day. I'm gonna head off now, Niall. Big up chat. Good night, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening. And you, Jack, have a good time. Great to see you on again, mate. Big up, mate. Good to see you again. Absolutely, 100%. Yep. See, you'll never see you about. Absolutely. I saw Nick Hogan was arrested again over the weekend. I retweeted that. I don't know if you've seen it on our Twitter. I retweeted that the other day, and I was thinking, how does a guy who is surrounded by that much wealth not get it clear in his mind that he should park his car up and ring a cab or a taxi or an Uber or whatever it is? Like, it's not like he's short a few quid. You can't excuse that. You can't excuse Hulk Hogan's son getting a DUI. How do you excuse that? Park your goddamn car up. Ring an Uber. You're not short money. You've got money coming out of your rear end. Let's be honest here. There's no excuse for it. There's never an excuse for it. But at that level, when you know there's that kind of wealth floating around, that kind of money slushing around, there's even less of an excuse for it. Why would you do it? Why would you do it? Ruben Neves, don't shout out loud. Shh, the Premier League is like the court of owls. They're listening. They are listening. They're probably not tuning into me, though, Corvo, so we're all good, but they are definitely listening and they are definitely watching. And you know what I'm thinking as well, lads? I think, see this Everton thing? I think these boys are going to be on it now in terms of checking out clubs. A lot of clubs out there at the moment better seriously have their books clean as a whistle. Because I think you're going to start getting a lot more audits now, a lot more looking into football deals and stuff like that and all. Like when you think about some of the stuff that's coming out at the moment, not to pick them on, but take that Chelsea situation, that story that's coming out where Eto went to Chelsea on a free, but 30 million was transferred into an offshore account in relation to the transfer. The Premier League at the moment must be just going, what's going on here? And I'd say they're going to be digging in now, and clubs are going to get absolutely hammered. I don't think when you put out what's happened with Everton, I don't think you can put that out there and not expect that clubs are going to be looked into. I'm religious, so it's not about tree decorations, cards, and all the traditional. There is a way more about Christmas work. That, yeah, absolutely, 100%. His mugshot looks awful. Well, you got to remember. I mean, he's gone through. Remember, he's gone through the stuff. Didn't he have that car crash that time as well with the friend and the car and stuff like that, which must have been really, really tough. So I don't know. Nick Hogan has a face you'd love to winning a player. Yeah, it's probably jawed out wide enough as well to catch it and stuff like that, but didn't look good at all. And I'm sure the dad's not impressed. You're talking about a family. Must be tough as well. Imagine being the son of Hulk Hogan. Imagine the expectation on you being the son of Hulk Hogan or any of these big guys. You've seen the way that this goes and stuff like that, the unfortunate situation with Flair's son and stuff like that. So the pressure on these guys socially and stuff like that now must be absolutely horrific. But then when it all goes sideways and stuff like that, it's not great either. But yeah, tough and all right. I did see that. We'll probably chat about it on Wednesday and see how it transpires and stuff like that. But yeah, crazy, crazy stuff. Not the first time he's been in trouble. Probably tells me not the last time he'll be in trouble either. Listen, folks, great talking to you tonight. Thanks for tuning in for the review of AEW Full Gear. Always a pleasure talking to you about anything and everything, Christmas decorations, whatever you want to talk to me about, throw it out there. Like I said, you guys dictate the pattern of the show and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, I'm off to bed. You'll never walk alone until tomorrow. Stay safe and well. And you, Henry, have a good evening. Enjoy your rest. Bye, chat. Great show, mate. Cheers, Carver. Appreciate it. Always appreciate all you guys and gals in the chat in there. Hope you enjoy the shows. We will be back tomorrow, 9 o'clock, Monday mashup. Me and Baby Elvis himself, Mark, our resident ref, will be in. And we'll talk about a few things. We'll keep it open. Whatever you want to talk about, we'll talk about. I'm a celeb, get me out of here. Strictly, we'll talk about that and you want. And if we know anything about it, we'll let you know. He does have a son. He has a son, and that son had a car crash a few years ago and absolutely wiped out and destroyed his best mate. So a lot of stuff came about it and stuff like that and all. And Hogan's kind of domestic situation is quite fractured. You know, the son, Brooke, doesn't really want anything to do with the family anymore. She's distanced herself from a lot of it. We know what happened with Lynn and the separation. Hogan's only after getting married and all. So it's been quite a roller coaster ride in that family, to say the least. Until next time, folks, if you could, subscribe to the channel on your way out, hit the like button, of course, on the video, hit that bell notification button to let you know when we go live as well. Nice to see you in here nice and early on the shows as well, so we can generate that chat and debate and stuff like that. I will talk to you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Check out the channel as well tomorrow, probably a few shorts going out. It's been a crazy weekend and stuff like that, so hope you had a safe weekend. Hope you have a safe week. Nearly coming out of the back end of another international break. It's tough going, but the Premier League will be back at the weekend and wrestling on Wednesday. As always, we will be back as well. Those shows will all go up tomorrow. So make sure that bell notification button to notify when we go live. Talk to you again real soon, folks. Cheers.